Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
The original inventors of T9, and we know the ubiquity that that's achieved, having been installed on over 4 billion phones. Phones are indeed one of our target markets, but we like to say that we're going to be text input for every screen. We have it working on phones, tablets, in-car navigation systems, TVs with remote controls, game players, etc. So let me demonstrate Swype to you. So as you can see, I'm just dragging and dropping my fingers over the letters of the word. D-R-A-W, T-H-E. You just make sure you go over all the letters. It's with the typical tap keyboard that you find on the iPhone, any other touchscreen interface. You're prone to you're hitting the wrong characters, a lot of errors. The correction techniques are not quite there. There's a lot of frustration associated with that. In all of our OEM discussions, they love the flexibility of having a consistent keyboard across all their platforms. Likewise, for end users, removes the frustration of having to learn a new input method dependent upon the screen that you're interacting with. So I'm going to turn on the trace path to help demonstrate a little bit further of what I'm doing here. So as you can see, I'm leaving the trace path on. So a couple of key things. Double letter, S-O-N, soon. A little squiggle over the O will give you a double letter. Or hello. If you want to get really tricky, M-I-S-I-S-I-P-P-I. So some of the other things. Of course, you can hit caps. You can go T-H-E to capitalize like that. We also have a gesture going above the keyboard. So for example, my name. That would be lowercase. I didn't go above the keyboard. I go above the keyboard. It'll put capitalization. A lot faster. My last name, M-C-S-H-E-R-Y. So capital M, capital S. Much easier capitalization, much faster gestural input. Some of the other things. I'm, can't. So you're just treating the apostrophe as if it's a character that you're inserting within the space. Mike, and then I'll just drag apostrophe S in there. So intelligent auto spacing associated with that. To add a new word to the dictionary, WTIA. It's not in our dictionary. As you can see, there's a pop-up list of probable other words that potentially could be associated. So to add it, WTIA. Now I can just go WTIA. But we want that in all caps, right? Do a loop above the keyboard, throws it in all caps. Again, end users don't have to do it. They can do caps, they can do caps lock, they could go tap. So at the very base, it's same as other keyboards, but we've also inserted some learned gestures that once you know it, increases productivity incredibly. These devices are going to be used, phones, they're all connected to the internet. So WTIA, let me put it back in lower caps, WTIA at gmail.com. So you're going to be logging in, you're going to have usernames, passwords, alphanumerics. If I want to do WTIA 09, now I can just go WTIA 09. So what you see, the 0 and the 9 are associated with those keys. There's no ambiguity for other word choices, so you can insert alphanumerics associated like that. We think it's going to be fun for, again, going with that. So let me just delete this and bring things back up. www.google.com, or more recently, we've potentially been hearing about www.bing.com. We'll see if that's going to achieve a lot of usage associated there. Something else that we think is going to be fun, especially with youth, and youth are always early adopters of technology, is what we kind of label swipe art. So if I wanted to do the word, well, I'll start with, as you can see, it's quite flexible. So I'm trying to spell this, and I made a huge gross deviation in the path, and it still corrects it. Or if I want F-R-E-I-N-D, it'll autocorrect and make the correct spelling assumption for that. If I want to do circle, C-I-R-C-L-E, I'm going very precisely and slowly from letter to letter, as you should. But our algorithm is so powerful that you can also find where you can draw the word, C-I-R-C-L-E. I like this one, A-R-R. You find lots of them, right? So we think kids are going to just run away and have a lot of fun with this. We've got a feature in here so that, say you enter a paragraph of text. You don't want to constantly be looking, did I get that right? Did I get that right? You can double tap on words. And that'll bring up a word choice menu of potential other words. So I'm like, oh, I entered a paragraph of text. Oh, that's the wrong word. Let me just double tap on it, and let me replace with what it was. The flaring there is for broader gestural input. So instead of having to tap a specific letter, you just slide your finger out through that. Everything on the keyboard has been designed for gestural input. So I, A, period, comma, exclamation, question mark. Everything in here has been gestural. Again, you could hit the shift level and find them all, but some of these learned gestures, I liken it to Control-C, Control-V. Once you know it, you can't live without it. If you don't know it, you're fine. You're edit, copy, paste. So there's a lot of additional features in here. So if I wanted to cut, then I can just paste it back. So it's a fully flexible, fully featured device. We've got this same keyboard working interface in phones with television remotes. We've got a booth back there. Feel free to come by. Our business model is OEM licensing. We're not doing end-user downloads. We're in discussions with all OEMs across all the different platform categories as discussed. Languages are key to us. We support 10 languages currently. We're on track to support 40 languages by the end of the year. And that's that. Thank you.
So Mike, 7 years in the making. I mean, this is absolutely I've seen it online. I've seen different places. It's a very, very cool product in productization. Why is the timing right now for market adoption? And what do you expect to be alike and different from the T9 experience?
So a couple elements to that question. Cliff, in having sold TJIC earlier, had essentially retired, and someone challenged him to come up with a problem for people with disabilities, where they'd wear head tracking software, and they'd move their head to an A, pause, move to B, pause, move to C, pause. And it was that pause dwell time that enabled people with disabilities to spell this. Someone challenged him to come up with a solution with a continuous eye trace, and thus 7 years later. And in that 7 years, been filing patents. We have 5 issued patents along the way. And a text input technology, if it's only 90% accurate, it's a failure. It has to achieve 95, 97, 98% degree accuracy, or end users will not accept it. So in that 7 years, he's been refining the technology. Now, when he started the company, he was working on PDAs. And I think the iPhone and other proliferation of touchscreen devices, Win 7 supporting touch, everything is moving to touch. So the timing is quite good for the company and what we're doing. Now, how is it going to get adopted versus T9? T9 solved the problem for 9-key disambiguation. And then it moved up into the pure type compact QWERTY kind of style. But more and more we're seeing full QWERTY keyboards, both on touchscreen devices and on BlackBerry's style physical keyboards. So we think that we believe we have a much better input interface for a full QWERTY style keyboard. And certainly things are moving in the direction of touch. A lot of the OEMs that we have discussions with envision 50+% touchscreen market share within 3 to 5 years.
We do free space too,
I'm sorry?
You do free space too, not just touchscreen.
Yeah, gestural-based input.
Yeah.
Although in terms of the OEM adoption, phones, the device release cycles, the competitiveness of the marketplace, that's going to be our primary target audience. Once we achieve scale there, then I see into the PC, tablet space, in-car nav, and then eventually set-top box and TV. But the device release cycles on DVRs and game players, et cetera, don't nearly approach that of in the mobile space.
Do you compete with SpeedScript, and what's the best market for this? I mean, it was talked about the medical market, doctors and such will be one of the first adopters.
Well, I mean, potentially it could be the medical market, but I think it's going to be mobile phones. The iPhone is, set out that there's this touch interface. Everybody's frustrated with the iPhone keyboard. Sorry, I can't say everybody, but it is one of the biggest drawbacks to the device and what you hear. So we think there's a lot of competitive environment out there in order to provide a better touchscreen text input interface. Now, as to medical or niche markets, we've got a 65,000 word dictionary database supporting this. We could put that at anything. It could be the medical dictionary, it could be help tips, specific to a company's vertical, industry element, or an in-car nav. It could only be street names, etc.